Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Life by the Moment. If this is your first time here, I'd like to welcome you. And if you're a returning visitor, I'd like to thank you for coming back and joining us again for a sit and chat. If you are a returning viewer, I would like to ask that you consider subscribing to our channel. And those of you just visiting, give us a thumbs up if you like our content, because both of these things really help our channel as we're just starting out. So I'm going to get right into it. It's the fall. It's getting cold. I've got my favorite sweatshirt on. This is in homage to my pup, Mira. And maybe you'll see her on future episodes. I love her so much. My daughter gave me this sweatshirt for a gift not that long ago. So I'm calling this a sit and chat. So grab your tea or your coffee or beverage of your choice, and hopefully you can sit and enjoy this little chat. I'm going to do this one off the cuff. I want to discuss a little bit. In previous videos, I mentioned here and there, the topic comes up now and again about the challenges I face with different things to do with our adventures and just life things and everyday challenges. And I want to go into a little bit of detail about that today. Specifically, one of my challenges, I have a plethora of challenges right now, but one of the challenges I'm dealing with, and I'm being vulnerable sharing this with you because it's taken a lot to get to the point where I can even share these things with people. And the fact that I'm talking to a video screen right now, and I know that there are a few of you out there that may listen to this, but I hope that this offers something to you that benefits to you if you also have a challenge like I do or other similar challenge. One of the challenges I face is they call it single-sided deafness, because of a procedure I had about 1.5 years ago. If you don't know, I discussed in our welcome video that I had a major brain surgery to remove a tumor. And because of that, I was left with single-sided deafness. So my right ear doesn't hear well. I'm clinically deaf, according to the tests that they've run. It wasn't something that happened right away, and we were hoping that the procedure, the type of procedure that we did, would not make this happen. We were hoping to preserve my hearing that I had. I had some slight hearing loss due to the tumor, but nothing major. Unfortunately, about 7 months into my recovery, they discovered through testing that I was profoundly deaf in that ear. So I thought it was important to share one of my challenges with you so that going forward you might understand some of the things and maybe you can relate to some of it. So being single-sided deaf, or having unilateral deafness, I think is another term they use, poses challenges that people don't really think about. It's not like being fully deaf. I am grateful, thank God, that I still have hearing in my left ear. But because you're missing that hearing on that side, there's like a wall. There's like a wall that separates the two sides of your head. They call it like a head shadow effect. So I often miss sounds coming from the other side, and I also lose directional sound. I can't tell where a sound is coming from. At times it can be, at this point, kind of humorous, and I can use it to my benefit. But there are bad days and very sad, very hard days dealing with this. I will always have hope that something will change. I don't think there's anything wrong with having hope. And I do believe that you can be healed. But right now I'm dealing with the situation as it is. So recently I was recommended to try these hearing aids. I'll use that term loosely because the type of hearing aids they are, they will not give me hearing in this ear. My nerve has been damaged. It is still there. I have an intact nerve, but it was damaged from the procedure, so it's not allowing me to receive sounds. Like the nerve is so thin, it's described like as thin as a hair. So you can imagine how fragile it is. So anyway, these cross hearing aids work like the left side works like a traditional hearing aid, and the right side works like a microphone. So it picks up the sound that I'm missing on the left side. And I know that may not make a lot of sense to you if you are hearing in both ears. Also, another effect of being single-sided deaf is you actually get overstimulated by the sounds that you hear, because this hearing is overcompensating so much that it's trying to perceive all this information, and it can be very overwhelming. You can actually hear sounds louder. And I know this doesn't make sense to you if you're not dealing with this, but it's extremely overwhelming. It can cause anxiety and even panic. It's taken me a bit to get used to this. I'm only about a year and a half out of my brain surgery, and I'm still struggling with a lot of issues. I'm not discussing those in this video, but hearing is definitely something that is challenging. Also, what you might not know is that when your hearing is affected and your hearing nerve is affected, it also can cause problems with your balance. I don't know all the technicalities of it. I have read things and had it explained to me, but I'm not a doctor. But in layman's terms, your hearing affects your balance. So there are a lot of things I'm having to adjust in my life. Anyway, I've been using the cross hearing aids for a couple of months now. It's really interesting because some days I still feel like my ear is plugged, almost like an earache, and barometric pressures bother me and things like that. I get ear pain. I never even had ear pain or earaches before any of this. But one of the biggest things, that overwhelm, that anxiety that people don't understand when you go to a crowded restaurant, when I go to church on Sunday, sometimes it's very hard between the music or other outside sounds, trying to hear somebody speak. You really have to pay attention and really look at the person and really focus. It causes exhaustion, a lot of brain fatigue and exhaustion. So sometimes I have to take a break or take me out of those situations. Now, the cross hearing aids have been helpful, but there are times when you just still can't eliminate that overwhelm. It's really cool because it has these new Bluetooth features now. There's so much evolving with technology. So when I make a phone call on my cell phone, it comes right through the hearing aid, which is pretty cool. So I don't have to have people on speakerphone and not have privacy with conversation. And they can, if there's any hearing loss in the hearing ear, they can adjust that as well. There's also different settings on the hearing aid, like for crowd and there's personal ones you can make, like for in your car to eliminate background noise from your car and things like that. They set you up the personal one based on your hearing test and what, they configure that for you. And the neat thing, I guess remotely, I've never asked because I'm still new at it, my otologist can adjust things remotely on her end. So that's pretty cool. And I've had her adjust a few things because when I get up in the morning, it was too loud, the personal setting for me, so she lowered that. I also have controls and app on my phone, so I can do that myself. And the other thing is, I'm using the term cross. There's different brands. Mine is Genesis. I think it's 1A or something like that. But there are different brands. I don't know if this is helpful to you out there, but if you suffer from hearing loss in one ear, it might be something that you might want to check out, because it does make you feel a little bit more normal at times. Yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes because you're always having something plugging your ears. But it has helped a little bit because if I were driving a car, because it's my right ear, I wouldn't be able to hear the passenger on my right side. So it does give me the ability, it makes you feel like you have hearing. They say it doesn't help with sound location, but I feel like it kind of does. But I also feel like the last hearing test I had, I wasn't sure, they showed the dips and all. I don't know if you've ever had a hearing test, but it shows profound hearing loss. My doctor's like, you're deaf, it's not coming back, all these things. That's a topic for another day. But anyway, um, it does. It gives you that weird sensation of hearing, and it does lessen that head shadow effect that I talked about, where there's like a wall separating the sound. So if you're somebody that's suffering with deafness on one side due to a surgery, or just maybe something age-related or whatever it is, it might be something you might want to talk to your ENT, your audiologist, or your otologist. I have an otologist and an ENT, which was my surgical ENT, an audiologist, because it's otologist, they're a little bit more trained. They also have some neurological training because they deal with situations like the type of tumor I had and things like that. So that might be something that would help you. Maybe it won't. Maybe the sounds coming in from the side that is mic'd will be too much and overwhelming for you. And sometimes it is. I have a TV setting on these, which are great because I don't have to blast the TV, and sometimes you can't get closed caption. I have pretty good hearing still in my left ear, but you will miss stuff. But sometimes it can be overwhelming, sort of, I describe it like tinny sort of noises, or echoey. And I don't know if that's the right term, but my otologist said, yeah, that's a pretty good way to describe it. So sometimes that can still be overwhelming. But it's really important. It's important to me to protect my hearing. And I was even concerned that with the hearing aid side, that would damage further hearing in this side, because I'm so protective of this ear now. I'm so afraid of losing hearing in that ear. She ensured me that it would not damage that ear. In fact, having hearing aids when you're losing hearing is actually better for you, because it's teaching or reteaching your brain the sounds that you've been missing. So it helps you, and it helps you to learn to differentiate sounds, like communicating with someone in their voices versus music, etc. But it keeps your brain actively working, because you're in danger when you can't, for obvious reasons, if you can't hear a sound coming at you, that could be dangerous. But continuing to work those receptors in your brain is good for your health. They've done different studies and things on that. I'm sure that that's something you could look up too. I'm glad that this conversation is going in this direction, because when I just started talking to you, I didn't know if it was going to go in a direction of sadness and depressing things, because it is quite sad. I'm in my 50s, so I have had really good hearing for my entire life. In my entire adult life, I could hear a pin drop. Still, even though I've lost hearing on this side, I'll hear a noise, and my spouse, for example, won't hear it, and it'll drive me crazy. I'm like, and I'll poke at him. I'm like, I'm the one that can't hear out of this ear, and I'm still hearing that noise. But on a sad note, music, I love music, and music has always been a big part of my life. I'm not a musician or anything. I mean, I'd love to be one, but I've always really loved music, and it has changed how I hear music. And at first, that was really depressing. It was really, really hard to deal with, compounded with all of my other challenges and issues that I'm not going into in this video. It was really, really depressing. I wasn't expecting to lose my hearing. The type of surgery that was performed on me was, like I said, supposed to preserve the hearing in that ear, and it just didn't. You know, the brain is very complicated. I don't want to, you know, I had a very good, knowledgeable surgical team, and my surgical ENT still is very supportive, but it's been really, really, really hard to get through all these challenges. You know, there's been so many things. I do have another video that talks a little bit about that. It's a little bit more of a depressing video because I did that several months back and still in the crux of things. There are still a lot of challenges that I am dealing with and having to go through. And I think maybe this could be part of that segment, and maybe it will help others. I do have friends, I've made connections with people, and I belong to a support group, and people have come out of the woodwork. Friends that I've had for years, I didn't even have any idea that they had suffered hearing loss too. So there is communities out there for just about everything you're going through, and I highly encourage you, if you're going through something serious medically, to look for those communities and talk to people, because as much as your family and your friends love you and want to help you and tell you you look great and you're doing so well, and they are very encouraging, and I love my family, my friends, and my church family for all of that. But it's really hard because they can't really grasp. They can't grasp what I am physically going through, because you can't see it. Looking at me and me talking to you right now, you can't tell that I'm deaf on this ear, because I've had hearing all of my life. I've been blessed with that. I will say that. But you can't tell just by looking at me the struggles that I'm going through. You can't always tell by looking at somebody. And sometimes people are very judgmental and critical, not knowing what that person is going through. So before this message gets, or this little chat gets too lengthy and too babbly, I'm going to try and wrap it up here. And I need to have some of this tea. Have a sip of your tea if you have some. I just want to be encouraging. I really want this channel to be encouraging and supportive, and it's going to meld into different things as we go on, because I encourage you to look at that first welcome video. It's a terrible video. I cut the top of my head off, but you can laugh. You can laugh at my video. It's, you know, life by the moment. You know, things just don't always go the way we plan, and you know, there's mistakes along the way, but hopefully we learn from them. I just want to continue to encourage you and hope that you continue to like our content and tune in. We have been working on some more exciting things and adventures. Been working on, we have an upcoming video of the Ren Fair we visited. We've just been struggling a little bit learning the editing part of all that. But that's a really great video, and I hope you can join along in this journey. And if you're still with me, thank you so much. I really appreciate you tuning into our channel and helping us to improve our content. Any comments are helpful. Give that thumbs up and consider subscribing. Until next time, be blessed, and bye for now.